Every single person has a unique potential within them, a spark that sets them apart from everyone else. But too often that potential gets buried under layers of doubt. Doubt that whispers, you're not ready or you're not capable. The truth is that doubt isn't real. It's a barrier your mind creates, but it's one you have the power to break through. Because what you carry inside of you, your ideas, your perspective, your voice, can shape your future and inspire others. This isn't just about motivation. This is about understanding the real impact of trusting yourself and choosing to believe that you're enough, exactly as you are. Today, we're going to explore how to overcome those limiting beliefs, how to unlock the confidence you already have within, and how to take action even when fear tries to hold you back. By the time we're done, you'll not only know why self-doubt has no place in your life, but you'll feel ready to step into your full potential with purpose and clarity. This is the message you need to hear today. So let's get into it. Number 1. You are the architect of your mind. You are the architect of your mind. Your mind is your most valuable real estate, and what you build there will determine the quality of your life. Here's the key. You have control over what you design, what you nurture, and what you let grow. So let's get clear on this. Every thought you have, every belief you hold, is like a brick. Some bricks are strong, bricks of confidence, self-respect, and purpose. But others, like self-doubt, fear, or negativity, are weak. And weak bricks lead to weak foundations. If you've been building your mind with weak materials, it's time to change that. It's time to take charge and build something strong, something solid. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Jim, it's not that easy. My doubts feel so real. And I get it. Doubts can feel overwhelming. They can creep in like unwelcome guests, telling you that you're not good enough, or that you're bound to fail. But let me remind you of this truth. Those doubts are not facts. They're just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. The first step to becoming the architect of your mind is awareness. You've got to pay attention to what's going on up there. Are your thoughts building you up, or are they tearing you down? Take a moment to reflect. If you're feeding your mind with negativity, it's no surprise that you're doubting yourself. You can't build a castle if you're constantly throwing stones at your foundation. So how do you rebuild? Start with a blueprint. Write down the kind of person you want to become. Write it in detail. Do you want to be confident, resilient, creative? Write it down and look at it every single day. Because here's the truth. What you focus on grows. If you focus on your potential, it will expand. If you focus on your doubts, they will take over. Choose wisely. Next, let's talk about the materials you're using to build. What are you feeding your mind? Are you consuming content that inspires you, that challenges you, that makes you better? Or are you drowning in negativity, comparison, and distractions? Be selective. Your mind deserves the best materials. Read books that push you forward. Listen to people who lift you higher. Surround yourself with ideas that fuel your growth. Now, I want to give you a practical exercise. Every morning, take 5 minutes, just 5, to write down 3 things you're proud of and 3 things you're grateful for. Why? Because gratitude builds a strong foundation. It reminds you of what's good, what's possible, and what's worth fighting for. And pride, well, that reminds you of your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. These 2 habits alone can start to rewire your mind for success. Another thing to remember, being the architect of your mind doesn't mean you won't face challenges. Life will test you. Doubts will try to sneak back in. But here's where you stand firm. When those doubts show up, ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it hurting me? If it's hurting you, replace it. Say to yourself, this doubt does not serve me, and I choose to let it go. It might feel strange at first, but repetition is the key. The more you practice replacing doubt with belief, the stronger your mental foundation will become. Finally, let me leave you with this thought. Your mind is your greatest tool. It's where every dream begins. It's where every breakthrough starts. But it's also where doubt lives. You get to decide which one you nurture. You get to decide what you build. So build something extraordinary. Build a mind that believes in your potential, that trusts your abilities, and that never lets doubt take over. Remember, you are the architect of your mind. Make it a masterpiece. Number 2, the past is a teacher, not a jailer. It's something we all need to understand if we're going to move forward and live the kind of life we're meant to live. But here's the problem. Too many people let their past mistakes, failures, and even painful experiences hold them hostage. They carry those memories around like a heavy weight, dragging them down and keeping them stuck. But I want you to know it doesn't have to be that way. Think about it. Every single one of us has a past. We've all made mistakes. We've all failed at something. And we've all been hurt by things we couldn't control. But here's the truth. What happened in the past doesn't define you unless you let it. The only way it can control you is if you keep giving it that power. You see, the past is done. It's over. You can't go back and change it, no matter how much you think about it. But what you can do is learn from it. And that's where the shift happens. When you stop looking at the past as something that's holding you back and start seeing it as something that's teaching you, you take back control of your life. Let's break this down. First, take a moment to think about a mistake you've made. Maybe it was something small, like missing a deadline, or something bigger, like losing an important opportunity. Whatever it is, I want you to look at it honestly and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? Maybe you learned the importance of preparation. Maybe you realized you need to manage your time better or communicate more effectively. Whatever the lesson is, that's what matters. The mistake itself, it's just a moment in time. But the lesson, that's what stays with you. That's what makes you better. Now let's talk about failure. Failure is a part of life. It's unavoidable. But here's what most people don't realize. Failure isn't the end of the road. It's a stepping stone. Every time you fail, you learn something new. You gain experience. You get closer to success. But that only happens if you're willing to look at failure in the right way. If you're too busy beating yourself up over what went wrong, you'll miss the lesson. And if you miss the lesson, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. So the next time you fail, don't see it as a disaster. See it as an opportunity to grow. Here's another thing to think about: forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to breaking free from the past. And I'm not just talking about forgiving others. I'm talking about forgiving yourself. Too often, we're our own harshest critics. We hold ourselves to impossible standards. And when we fall short, we carry that guilt with us for years. But let me tell you something. You can't move forward if you're stuck in regret. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made. Say it out loud if you need to. I forgive myself. Because the truth is, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. But those mistakes don't define you. What defines you is how you respond to them, how you grow from them, and how you move forward. And speaking of forgiveness, let's not forget about forgiving others. Holding on to resentment or anger doesn't hurt the other person. It hurts you. It's like carrying around a heavy chain. It weighs you down. It keeps you tied to the past. But when you forgive, you set yourself free. You're no longer a prisoner of what happened. You're free to focus on the present and create a better future. Now, I want to touch on something that's especially important in today's world: comparison. It's so easy to look at someone else's life and think they've got it all together. They've never struggled like I have. But let me tell you something. You don't know their story. You don't know the challenges they've faced or the lessons they've learned. And even if their life does look perfect, that has nothing to do with your journey. Your past, your struggles, your lessons, they're all part of what makes you unique. They're all part of your story. So stop comparing yourself to others and focus on your own growth. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Finally, I want to leave you with this. The past is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's there to show you what works and what doesn't. It's there to help you grow and evolve. But it's up to you to use it in the right way. You can't change the past, but you can change how you think about it. You can choose to let go of the pain, the regret, and the doubt. You can choose to take the lessons and move forward with strength and confidence. So my friends, let the past be your teacher, not your jailer. Take the lessons, leave the guilt, and move forward with purpose. Because your best days are not behind you. They are ahead of you. And the only way to reach them is to stop doubting yourself and start believing in what's possible. Number 3, confidence is a muscle, not magic. Let me tell you something about confidence. It's not something you're born with, and it's certainly not something magical that only a select few people have. Confidence is a muscle, and like any muscle in your body, it grows when you use it, when you push it, and when you challenge it. The good news, anyone can build confidence. The better news, once you do, it changes the way you see yourself, the way you approach life, and the way others see you too. Think back to a time when you felt confident. Maybe it was after nailing a presentation, scoring a goal, or stepping out of your comfort zone and succeeding. Remember that feeling? That wasn't luck. That wasn't a fluke. That was you showing up, putting in the effort, and proving to yourself that you're capable. Confidence is built in moments like that, moments where you do something that stretches you just a little bit more than the day before. But here's the thing. Confidence doesn't just happen overnight. It takes work, and it takes consistency. Imagine someone who wants to build physical strength. They don't go to the gym once, lift a few weights, and then expect to walk out looking like a bodybuilder. No, they have to show up day after day, week after week, and put in the reps. The same principle applies to confidence. Every time you try something new, every time you take a small risk, and every time you step into discomfort, you're putting in the reps for your confidence muscle. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if I try and fail? Won't that crush my confidence? Not at all. Failure is part of the process. In fact, I'd argue it's one of the best tools for building confidence. When you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you're resilient, that you're capable of handling setbacks. And that's a powerful thing. Confidence isn't about never failing. It's about knowing that failure doesn't define you. It's about trusting yourself to figure things out, no matter what happens. Let me share something personal with you. Early in my career, I was terrified of public speaking. I used to think, who am I to stand up and talk to people? What if I mess up? What if they don't like me? But here's what I realized. The only way to get better at something is to do it. So I started small. I spoke in front of small groups, even when my voice shook and my palms were sweaty. I made mistakes, sure, but I learned from them. And with every speech, no matter how imperfect, my confidence grew. Now, standing in front of a room full of people feels as natural as having a conversation with a friend. But it didn't happen by accident. It happened because I kept showing up, even when it was uncomfortable. Here's a little exercise I want you to try. Start by identifying one area in your life where you want more confidence. Maybe it's at work, in your relationships, or in pursuing a goal you've been dreaming about. Now think of one small action you can take today to move in that direction. It doesn't have to be a big leap, just a small step. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to someone you admire, or trying something you've never done before. Whatever it is, commit to it. And when you do it, take a moment to acknowledge yourself. Recognize that you just put in another rep for your confidence. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for confidence to show up before they take action. But that's not how it works. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. Every time you take action, you build trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you can handle it. And over time, that trust turns into confidence. Another thing to remember is that confidence isn't about being perfect. It's not about having all the answers or never making mistakes. It's about being okay with who you are and knowing that you're capable of figuring things out as you go. It's about showing up as your authentic self, flaws and all, and trusting that you're enough. Perfectionism will only hold you back. Confidence, on the other hand, gives you the freedom to try, to fail, and to grow. You might be wondering, what if I don't feel confident right now? How do I even start? That's a great question. The answer is simple. You start where you are with what you have. Confidence isn't something you need to have all at once. It's something you build, one step at a time. Maybe your first step is saying, I can do this. Maybe it's reminding yourself of a time when you succeeded before. Or maybe it's as simple as standing a little taller, making eye contact, and speaking with conviction, even if you're feeling nervous inside. Sometimes just acting confident can kickstart the real thing. Let's talk about self-talk for a moment, because it's a big part of building confidence. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, you're reinforcing those beliefs. But if you start saying, I'm learning or I'm getting better every day, you're planting seeds of confidence. Be mindful of the words you use with yourself. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend who needs encouragement. Because the truth is, you're listening. Lastly, surround yourself with people who lift you up. Confidence grows in the right environment. Spend time with people who believe in you, who challenge you to be better, and who celebrate your wins, no matter how small. And if there are people in your life who constantly bring you down or make you doubt yourself, it might be time to set some boundaries. Protecting your confidence is just as important as building it. So my friend, remember this, confidence is a muscle. It grows with use. It grows when you take action, when you face your fears, and when you keep showing up, even when it's hard. Don't wait for confidence to come to you. Go out and build it. Start small, keep going, and watch how your life changes. Because when you believe in yourself, when you trust in your own ability to figure things out, there's nothing you can't achieve. You've got this. Number 4, your energy follows your focus. You know, one of the most important things I've learned over the years is that your energy follows your focus, what you choose to pay attention to, what you allow to take up space in your mind. That's where your energy flows, and where your energy goes, that's what grows in your life. If you're constantly focusing on what's wrong, on what's missing, or on what could go wrong, you'll find yourself drained, frustrated, and stuck. But if you shift your focus to what's possible, to what you can control, and to the opportunities in front of you, you'll start to feel energized, motivated, and ready to move forward. Think about it. How many times have you started your day in a good mood, ready to take on the world, only to have one small thing throw you off track? Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or you got an email that rubbed you the wrong way. Suddenly that one moment takes over your thoughts. You replay it in your mind, over and over, and before you know it, your whole day feels off. It's not that the situation was that big of a deal, it's that you gave it your focus, and when you gave it your focus, you gave it your energy. That's how powerful focus is. Now here's the good news. You're in control of your focus. You get to decide what deserves your attention, and what doesn't. You get to choose where your energy goes. It's not always easy. I'll admit, there are distractions everywhere. There are challenges and setbacks that demand your attention. But the key is to be intentional. The key is to train your mind to focus on what matters most. Let me ask you this. What are you focusing on right now? Are you focusing on your goals, your growth, and the things that inspire you? Or are you caught up in fear, doubt, and worry? Be honest with yourself, because this awareness is the first step to making a change. If your focus is on the things that bring you down, you're going to feel drained and stuck. But if you start shifting your focus to the things that lift you up, you'll notice a shift in your energy. You'll start to feel more motivated, more optimistic, and more capable. One of the most powerful ways to take control of your focus is to start your day with intention. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up and immediately start scrolling through your phone, reacting to emails, or worrying about the day ahead, you're giving your focus and your energy away to things you can't control. But if you take a few moments to center yourself, to think about what you're grateful for, and to set clear intentions for the day, you're taking charge of your focus. You're deciding right from the start what deserves your energy. Gratitude is one of the most effective tools for shifting your focus. When you take the time to think about what you're grateful for, you're training your mind to see the good in your life. And the more you focus on the good, the more good you'll find. It's not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the things that give you strength, the things that remind you of what's possible. Another way to harness your focus is to be mindful of the stories you're telling yourself. We all have an inner dialogue, a running commentary in our minds that shapes how we see ourselves and the world around us. If your inner dialogue is filled with negativity, if you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, or that things will never get better, that's where your focus will go. And that's where your energy will go too. But here's the thing. You have the power to rewrite those stories. You have the power to choose thoughts that empower you instead of thoughts that hold you back. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, challenge that thought. Replace it with something like, I'm capable of figuring this out. When you hear yourself saying, this always happens to me, shift your focus to, what can I learn from this? It might feel strange at first, but over time, this practice can transform the way you see yourself and the way you approach challenges. Now let's talk about distractions. In today's world, there are more distractions than ever before. Social media, emails, notifications, they're all competing for your attention. And if you're not careful, they'll steal your focus before you even realize it. That's why it's so important to set boundaries. Turn off notifications when you're working on something important. Set aside specific times to check your email or social media, instead of letting them interrupt you throughout the day. Protect your focus like it's one of your most valuable resources, because it is. It's also important to take breaks and recharge. Your focus is like a battery. It's not unlimited, and it needs time to recharge. If you're constantly pushing yourself without taking time to rest, your focus will waver and your energy will fade. Make time for things that replenish you, whether it's going for a walk, spending time with loved ones, or simply taking a few deep breaths. When you take care of yourself, you're better able to maintain your focus and bring your best energy to everything you do. Here's something I want you to remember. Focus is a skill. It's not something you either have or don't have. It's something you can develop, something you can strengthen with practice. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at directing your energy toward the things that truly matter. Imagine what your life could look like if you made this shift. Imagine waking up every day and choosing to focus on your goals, your growth, and the things that inspire you. Imagine letting go of the distractions, the negativity, and the things you can't control. Imagine putting your energy into the things that move you forward, instead of the things that hold you back. How would that feel? What could you accomplish? Who could you become? You have the power to make that vision a reality. It starts with a choice to take control of your focus, to be intentional with your energy, and to commit to what truly matters. And when you make that choice, everything changes. Your energy follows your focus, and your focus creates your reality. So choose wisely, my friend. Choose to focus on the possibilities, the opportunities, and the best version of yourself. You're capable of so much more than you realize, and it all starts with where you decide to place your attention. Number 5, failure is data, not destiny. Failure is not your destiny, it's data. It's feedback. It's a part of the process, not the end of the road. The truth is, failure is one of the most valuable tools you'll ever have in life. It teaches you, shapes you, and builds you into someone stronger and wiser. But here's the catch. Too many people see failure as a dead end, when in reality it's just a stepping stone. Think about it for a moment. When you were learning to walk as a child, how many times did you fall over and over again? Right? But did you give up? No. You got back up, tried again, and eventually walking became second nature. That's the essence of failure. It's part of learning, part of growing. Somewhere along the way, though, we start associating failure with shame or inadequacy. But failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're trying, you're in the game, and you're moving forward. Here's the thing. Every failure carries a lesson, if you're willing to look for it. When something doesn't go as planned, it's not a sign that you're incapable. It's a sign that there's something to adjust, something to learn, something to refine. Imagine you're working on a puzzle. When a piece doesn't fit, you don't throw the whole puzzle away. You try another piece. You learn what doesn't work, and you move closer to figuring out what does. Life works the same way. Each failure is just another piece of data helping you see the bigger picture. Let me ask you this. How do you respond to failure? Do you let it define you, or do you use it to refine you? The way you answer that question can change everything. If you let failure define you, you're giving it too much power. You're allowing it to shape your identity instead of shaping your journey. But if you use it to refine you, to make you better, then failure becomes your greatest ally. I want you to think about some of the most successful people you admire. Do you think they got to where they are without failing? Absolutely not. In fact, their stories are often filled with failures, setbacks, and challenges. What sets them apart is how they responded to those moments. They didn't let failure stop them. They let it teach them. They took the lessons, adjusted their approach, and kept moving forward. And that's exactly what you can do too. Let me share something from my own life. Early in my career, I tried to start a business. I put my heart and soul into it, but it didn't work out. I lost money, time, and confidence. For a while, I felt like a failure. But then I realized something: that experience wasn't wasted. It taught me lessons about business, about people, and about myself that I couldn't have learned any other way. Those lessons became the foundation for my next venture, which was successful. Looking back, I don't regret that failure. It was a crucial part of my journey. You see, failure isn't permanent unless you let it be. It's only final if you stop trying. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail, learn, and try again. They're the ones who understand that every no brings them closer to a yes. Every misstep brings them closer to the right path. Here's another way to think about it. Failure is proof that you're pushing yourself. If you're not failing occasionally, you're not challenging yourself enough. Staying in your comfort zone might feel safe, but it won't lead to growth. Growth comes from taking risks, trying new things, and yes, sometimes failing. But those failures are what help you grow into the person you're meant to be. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What if I fail and people judge me? What if I let others down? Let me tell you something important. Most people are too focused on their own lives to judge yours. And even if they do, their opinions don't define you. What matters is how you see yourself, how you respond, and how you keep going. You're not here to live up to anyone else's expectations. You're here to fulfill your potential. When you fail, take a moment to feel it. Acknowledge the disappointment. It's okay to feel it. But don't stay there. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Write down the lessons. Use them to adjust your course. Failure isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's part of the process of becoming the person you're meant to be. And here's the beauty of it. The more you fail, the less scary it becomes. You start to see it for what it really is. Data, feedback, a step along the way. You realize that every failure is bringing you closer to success. As long as you keep moving forward, you start to trust yourself, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the resilience to bounce back. Let me give you a challenge. Think about something you've been afraid to try because you're worried about failing. Maybe it's starting a business, pursuing a passion, or having a tough conversation. Whatever it is, take one small step toward it this week. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be huge. Just take that first step. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Learn from it, adjust, and take another step. The only way to truly fail is to stop trying. Remember, failure isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not here to stop you. It's here to guide you. Every successful person has failed, and you're no different. You have what it takes to overcome failure, to learn from it, and to use it as fuel for your journey. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. You're capable of so much more than you realize. And the only way to discover that is to keep moving forward, no matter what. You've got this. Keep going. Number 6, the 5-second rule for courage. Let's talk about courage. Not the kind of courage you see in big, dramatic moments, but the kind you need in the everyday. The courage to take that first step, to make that phone call, to start the thing you've been putting off. You see, courage doesn't have to be loud or grand. Sometimes it's just about deciding in a single moment to act despite the fear. And here's the secret. It doesn't take hours of convincing yourself or waiting for the right time. It takes 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds to change your life. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you had an idea, felt excited about it, and then almost immediately talked yourself out of it? Maybe you thought, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? What will people think? And before you knew it, the moment had passed and the opportunity slipped away. That's how quickly fear can creep in and take control. But here's where the 5-second rule comes in. It's about catching that window of opportunity, those few seconds before doubt takes over, and choosing to act. Let me break it down for you. The next time you feel that spark of inspiration or the urge to do something that scares you, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. Get up, make the call, send the email, step forward. Whatever action it is, do it before your mind has a chance to stop you. It might sound simple, even a little silly, but trust me, it's powerful. When you count down, you interrupt the patterns of hesitation and overthinking. You take control of the moment instead of letting the moment control you. You don't need to feel brave to act brave. Courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about moving forward in spite of it. You might feel your heart racing, your palms sweating, and your mind racing with what ifs. That's okay. That's normal. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. It's to move through it. Because on the other side of fear is where growth happens. That's where you discover what you're truly capable of. Let me share an example with you. I remember a young man coming to me once, nervous about asking for a promotion at work. He had all the qualifications, had been performing well, but he was afraid of rejection. He kept putting it off, telling himself he'd do it when the time was right. But the truth was, he was waiting for the fear to disappear. And as we talked, I told him about the 5-second rule. I said, the next time you see your manager, count down from 5 and just ask. Don't give yourself time to overthink it. A week later, he came back with a huge smile. Not only had he asked for the promotion, but he got it. He told me that counting down gave him just enough of a push to override the fear. Now, I know not every situation will have such an immediate payoff. Sometimes you'll take that step, and things won't go as planned. But here's the thing. Even if you don't get the outcome you hoped for, you've still won. Why? Because you took the step. You proved to yourself that fear doesn't have to hold you back. And every time you do that, you build a little more confidence, a little more resilience. Courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You might be wondering, does this really work for everyone? And my answer is yes. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, starting a new project, reaching out to someone, or even getting out of bed on a tough day, the 5-second rule can help. It's not about solving every problem or guaranteeing success. It's about creating momentum, about breaking free from the paralysis of doubt and fear. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is a natural response. It's there to protect us from danger. But in today's world, most of the things we fear aren't life-threatening. They're about uncertainty, rejection, or stepping into the unknown. And while those fears feel real, they don't have to control you. Fear loves to exaggerate, to make you believe the worst-case scenario is inevitable. But when you act quickly, before fear has a chance to take hold, you take away its power. I want you to think about something you've been putting off. Maybe it's a dream you've had for years, a conversation you know you need to have, or a change you've been wanting to make. What's stopping you? Is it fear of failure? Fear of judgment? Whatever it is, recognize that fear is just a feeling. It's not a fact. And the way to overcome it isn't to wait for it to go away, but to move through it. The beauty of the 5-second rule is that it's always with you. You don't need any special tools or preparation. All you need is a decision to take that first step. Because here's the truth. The first step is always the hardest. But once you take it, the next one gets a little easier. And the one after that, easier still. Before you know it, you're moving forward, building momentum and creating change. Now let me be clear. This doesn't mean every action will be easy or that fear won't creep back in. It will. But every time you use the 5-second rule, you're reminding yourself that you're in control. You're teaching yourself that you don't have to let fear dictate your choices. And over time, you'll find that the things that once felt impossible start to feel achievable. Imagine what your life could look like if you embrace this. Imagine how many opportunities you could create, how much progress you could make if you stopped letting fear hold you back. What if, every time you felt doubt creeping in, you counted down and took action? What could you accomplish? Who could you become? You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to know every step of the journey. All you need is the courage to take the next step. Just 5 seconds of courage. That's all it takes to change the trajectory of your day, your week, your life. So the next time you feel that hesitation, that little voice of doubt, remember this: you're stronger than your fear. Count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. You've got this. Number 7. Daily rituals build unshakable trust. How often do you stop and think about the habits you're building every single day? The little things you do without even realizing it. The way you wake up, the way you approach your work, the way you spend your evenings. Those are your daily rituals. And whether you know it or not, they're shaping your life. They're either setting you up for success or pulling you further away from it. That's the power of your daily habits. They can either build you up or break you down. The question is, are you intentional about them? I want you to understand something right now. Trust in yourself, real, unshakable trust, doesn't come from a big moment or one-time achievement. It's not about hitting a massive goal and suddenly feeling confident forever. Trust is something you earn from yourself, day in and day out. It's built through consistency. It's built through showing up for yourself, even on the days when you don't feel like it. That's where the magic is. The quiet, steady rhythm of daily action. Think about it. If you made a promise to someone else, you'd do everything you could to keep it, wouldn't you? You'd show up on time, follow through, make sure they knew they could rely on you. But how often do we break promises to ourselves? We say we'll start the workout, or write the book, or wake up earlier. But when the time comes, we let ourselves off the hook. And every time we do that, we chip away at our own trust. We send a message to ourselves that our word doesn't matter. That's why daily rituals are so important. They're not just about productivity or achieving your goals. They're about proving to yourself that you can count on you. When you wake up each day and stick to those small commitments, you start to feel a sense of pride, a sense of momentum. You start to believe in yourself in a way that's unshakable. Because trust isn't given, it's earned. And you earn it by keeping those promises to yourself, one day at a time. Now you might be thinking, but where do I start? What should my rituals even be? It doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Start with one thing. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or spending 10 minutes reading something that inspires you. The key is to make it simple, something you can do consistently. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. The beauty of daily rituals is that they create momentum. When you stick to one habit, it gives you the confidence to add another and another. Over time, these small actions compound. They start to ripple out into every area of your life. That glass of water in the morning leads to better hydration, which leads to more energy, which leads to better focus. That 10 minutes of reading turns into new ideas, new perspectives, new motivation. It's like planting seeds. Each habit is a seed, and with time and consistency, they grow into something powerful. But let's be real. There will be days when it's hard, days when you're tired or stressed, or just not in the mood. Those are the days that matter most. Anyone can stick to a routine when they're feeling good. But the real test of your commitment is what you do when it's tough. That's when you have the opportunity to prove to yourself that you're serious, that you're not just interested in change, but committed to it. Because there's a big difference between interest and commitment. Interest says, I'll do it if it's convenient. Commitment says, I'll do it no matter what. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met someone who wanted to change their life. They were tired of feeling stuck, tired of making excuses. So they decided to start with one simple ritual, writing in a journal for 5 minutes every morning. That's it. Just 5 minutes. At first it felt insignificant. What could 5 minutes really do? But they stuck with it. Every single day, they wrote down their thoughts, their goals, their intentions. And over time, something shifted. That 5-minute habit gave them clarity. It gave them direction. It gave them a sense of control over their day. From there, they added more rituals, exercise, reading, setting daily priorities. And before they knew it, their entire life had changed. Not because of one big dramatic moment, but because of the small, consistent actions they took every day. That's the power of rituals. They create a foundation for everything else. When you start your day with intention, it sets the tone for everything that follows. It's like building a house. If the foundation is solid, you can build as high as you want. But if the foundation is shaky, everything else will eventually crumble. Your rituals are your foundation. They ground you. They remind you of who you are and what you're capable of. And let me tell you something else. Your rituals don't have to look like anyone else's. This isn't about copying someone else's routine or following the latest trend. It's about figuring out what works for you, what helps you feel focused, energized, and in control. What actions align with your goals and values? That's where you should start. It's not about doing what's popular. It's about doing what's meaningful. So here's what I want you to do. Take a moment to think about one small action you can take every day. Something that feels doable. Something that feels right for you, and commit to it. Not for a week, not for a month. Commit to it for the long haul. Because real change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistency, through showing up day after day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And as you stick to that one habit, you'll start to notice something amazing. You'll start to trust yourself more. You'll start to feel a sense of pride in the fact that you're showing up for yourself. And that trust, that pride, will spill over into every area of your life. You'll start to feel more capable, more confident, more in control. That's the power of daily rituals. They're not just habits. They're a declaration to yourself and to the world that you're serious about your growth, your goals, and your life. Remember this. The little things you do every day matter more than the big things you do once in a while. Success isn't built in a day. It's built daily. So start small. Start today. And watch how those small, consistent actions transform your life. You've got everything you need within you. All you have to do is show up every single day and prove it to yourself. Trust me, you're worth it. Number 8, posture changes your story. How do you carry yourself when you walk into a room? How do you stand? How do you sit? How do you speak? Because I want to tell you something today that might surprise you. The way you hold your body, the way you show up physically, says a lot about who you believe you are. It's like a mirror reflecting your inner story. And more importantly, it has the power to shape that story. You see, your posture, your movement, your expression, they don't just communicate to others, they communicate to you. Think about this. Have you ever had a tough day and you found yourself slouched over, staring at the ground, shoulders drooped, feeling like the weight of the world was on you? And maybe someone told you to sit up straight or stand tall. And when you did, something shifted inside you, even just a little. That's not by accident. Your body and mind are connected in ways most of us don't even realize. When you shift your posture, you can shift your mindset. It's one of the simplest, most powerful tools you have to take control of your story. Now let me clarify something. Posture isn't just about looking good or standing up straight for the sake of appearance. This isn't about impressing anyone. It's about the relationship you have with yourself. It's about how you show up for your own life. When you carry yourself with confidence, even if you don't feel confident in the moment, you send a signal to your brain that says, I've got this. I'm capable. I'm here to own my space. And that changes everything. It changes how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Let's break it down. Imagine you're facing a challenge. Maybe it's a big presentation, a difficult conversation, or even just getting through a tough day. If you go into that situation with your head down, your shoulders hunched, and your arms crossed, you're already telling yourself, I'm not ready for this. I don't belong here. And your mind will believe it. But if you walk in with your head held high, your shoulders back, and your chest open, you're telling yourself, I'm here. I'm ready. I can handle this. And your mind will believe that too. You might be thinking, well, that's easy to say, but it's not that simple. And you're right. It's not always easy, especially when life throws challenges your way and you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure of yourself. But that's exactly when this matters most. When you choose to change your posture in those moments, you're taking a stand, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You're deciding to show up for yourself, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I've seen this in my own life, and I've seen it in the lives of so many people I've worked with over the years. There was a young man I once mentored who struggled with self-doubt. He had big dreams, but he didn't believe he was capable of achieving them. Every time he walked into a room, you could see it in his body. His shoulders were rounded, his eyes were downcast, his movements were small, almost like he was trying to disappear. And the thing is, he wasn't fooling anyone. His posture was telling the world and himself that he didn't think he belonged. We started working on one simple thing, his posture. I told him, before you walk into a room, before you start your day, take a moment, stand up tall, roll your shoulders back, take a deep breath, and then walk in like you mean it. At first it felt awkward to him. He said, I don't feel confident. I feel like I'm pretending. But I told him, that's okay. You don't have to feel it yet. Just do it. And you know what happened? Over time, something amazing started to shift. The more he practiced, the more natural it became. And the more natural it became, the more he started to feel the confidence he was projecting. He began to see himself differently. He started to believe in his own worth, his own potential. And that belief changed the way he approached his goals, his relationships, his entire life. That's the power of posture. It's not just about how you look. It's about how you feel, how you think, how you show up. When you stand tall, when you open yourself up, you're creating space for possibilities. You're telling yourself and the world that you're here, that you're ready, that you're capable. And it's not just about standing or sitting. It's about the energy you bring into every action. When you walk, walk with purpose. When you speak, speak with clarity and intention. When you look at someone, look them in the eye. These small shifts might seem insignificant, but they add up in a big way. They create a ripple effect that touches every part of your life. Now, I know there will be moments when it feels tough, when life knocks you down, and you don't feel like standing tall. But those are the moments when this matters most. Because when you choose to carry yourself with strength, even when you don't feel strong, you're building resilience. You're teaching yourself that you can get through anything. You're proving to yourself that no matter what happens, you have the power to rise. And here's the beautiful thing. When you change your posture, you're not just changing how you feel. You're changing how others perceive you too. People respond to confidence. They respond to presence. When you walk into a room with your head held high, people notice. They take you seriously. They're drawn to your energy. And that creates opportunities. Opportunities for connection, for growth, for success. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you catch yourself slouching, or shrinking, or holding back, stop. Take a deep breath. Lift your head. Roll your shoulders back. Open yourself up. And remind yourself of who you are. You are capable. You are worthy. You belong here. This isn't just about changing your posture. It's about changing your story. It's about deciding every single day to show up for yourself with strength, with confidence, with purpose. Because when you do that, you're not just transforming how you look or feel, you're transforming your life. And that's where the magic happens. That's where real, lasting change begins. You have the power to change your story. You have the power to stand tall, to own your space, to live with confidence and purpose. All it takes is one choice, one moment, one shift. So start today. Start right now. Stand tall and watch how your life begins to rise with you. Number 9, progress trumps perfection. How often do you stop yourself from taking action? Because you think it's not the perfect time, or you're not quite ready, or the plan isn't flawless yet. We've all been there, waiting for everything to line up just right before we take that first step. But here's the truth. Progress will always matter more than perfection. Let me say that again because it's important. Progress trumps perfection every single time. Perfection is this illusion we chase. We think, if I could just get it right, then I'll start. Or if it's not perfect, what's the point? But life doesn't work that way. Life rewards those who move, who take action, who show up, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when they're not entirely sure how it's going to turn out. You don't have to be perfect to make progress, but you do have to be willing to take the next step. I want you to think about this for a moment. Have you ever seen a baby learning to walk? It's a beautiful process. They don't wait until they've figured out how to walk perfectly before they try. No, they stumble, they fall, they get back up again. And with every step, even the ones that end with them tumbling to the ground, they're learning, they're growing stronger, they're making progress. Imagine if a baby thought, I'm not going to try walking until I know I can do it without falling. They'd never walk. And yet as adults, we fall into this trap all the time. We hesitate, we hold ourselves back, waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect plan. And in doing so, we rob ourselves of the growth and progress that come from simply starting. Here's what I've learned about progress. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's downright messy. Sometimes it feels slow, but it's always worth it. Because every step forward, no matter how small, gets you closer to where you want to be. Every time you take action, you're building momentum, you're learning, you're improving, and that's what it's all about. Let's talk about failure for a moment, because that's often what keeps us stuck in the pursuit of perfection. We're so afraid of making mistakes that we'd rather not try at all. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the opposite of progress. It's a part of progress. Every misstep, every setback, every so-called failure is a lesson. It's feedback. It's information that helps you adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward. When you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as a natural part of the process, you free yourself to take action, to experiment, to grow. I remember a time early in my career when I was so caught up in getting everything just right. I wanted my presentations to be perfect, my ideas to be flawless, my delivery to be impeccable. But that mindset held me back. I spent so much time tweaking, revising, overthinking, that I missed opportunities to connect with people, to share my message, to make an impact. It wasn't until I let go of that need for perfection and started focusing on showing up, on doing the work, on making progress, that everything changed. And guess what? The more I showed up, the better I got. Not because I was perfect, but because I kept moving forward. Let me tell you another story. There was a man I knew who wanted to start his own business. He had big dreams, big ideas, but he kept waiting for the perfect business plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions. And while he was waiting, someone else, someone with less experience, less knowledge, but a willingness to start, launched a similar business. That other person didn't wait for perfection. They took action. They learned as they went, and they built something incredible. Meanwhile, the man who was waiting for perfection never even got started. Don't let that be you. Don't let the pursuit of perfection keep you from making progress. So how do you let go of perfection and focus on progress? It starts with giving yourself permission to be a beginner, to not have all the answers, to make mistakes, to try, fail, learn, and try again. It's about setting small, achievable goals and celebrating every step forward, no matter how small, because those small steps add up. They build confidence. They create momentum. And before you know it, you've covered more ground than you ever thought possible. It's also about shifting your mindset. Instead of asking, is this perfect? Start asking, am I moving forward? Am I learning? Am I growing? Progress isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing the next right thing. It's about taking action, however imperfect, and trusting that you'll figure it out as you go. And let me tell you something else. When you focus on progress, something amazing happens. You start to build resilience. You start to see challenges as opportunities. You start to believe in your own ability to figure things out. That belief is powerful. It's what will carry you through the tough times, the setbacks, the moments when things don't go as planned. Because when you're committed to progress, you're unstoppable. You know that every step, every effort, every action is moving you closer to your goals. I want you to think about one area of your life right now where you've been holding back, waiting for perfection. Maybe it's starting a new project, pursuing a dream, or even having a difficult conversation. Whatever it is, I want you to ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today to make progress? Not a perfect step, not the final step, just the next step, and then take it. Because that's where the magic happens. Not in the perfect execution, but in the willingness to move forward, to try, to grow. Progress is what transforms dreams into reality. It's what turns ideas into action. It's what allows you to create a life you're proud of, one step at a time. So don't wait for perfection. Don't hold yourself back. Start where you are, with what you have, and take the next step. Keep going, keep growing, and trust that the journey is worth it, because it is. And so are you. Number 10, the world needs your voice. Let me tell you something that I believe with all my heart. The world needs your voice. I know it's easy to feel like your voice doesn't matter, like your ideas aren't big enough, your skills aren't polished enough, or your perspective isn't unique enough. But that couldn't be further from the truth. There's no one else in this world who has lived your life, experienced your challenges, or dreamed your dreams. You have something to offer that no one else can. And the moment you realize that, the moment you decide to share your voice with the world, everything begins to change. We live in a world that thrives on connection. Think about it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every movement started with someone who was willing to speak up, to share their ideas, to tell their story. And those people, they weren't always the loudest, the most polished, or the most confident. They were just willing to risk being seen, willing to risk being heard, willing to make an impact. Your voice is more than the sound you make when you speak. It's your perspective, your ideas, your values, and your passions. It's how you show up in the world, how you connect with others, and how you leave your mark. And the world needs that. The world needs your authenticity, your creativity, your courage, because without your voice, there's a piece of the puzzle that's missing. There's a gap that only you can fill. I want you to think about the people who have inspired you, the people who have made a difference in your life. Maybe it's a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or even a stranger whose words stuck with you. Now ask yourself this. What if they had stayed silent? What if they had doubted the value of their voice? What if they had held back? You wouldn't have been touched by their words, their actions, their presence. And just like they've impacted you, you have the power to impact someone else. But you have to be willing to use your voice. I know it's not always easy. Sometimes fear gets in the way. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of failure. But here's what I've learned. Fear doesn't go away by staying silent. It goes away by taking action, by speaking up, by proving to yourself that you're stronger than your doubts. Every time you use your voice, you build confidence. Every time you share your ideas, you grow. Every time you take a stand, you inspire someone else to do the same. And let me tell you something else about fear. It's a sign that you're on to something important. If you weren't afraid, it wouldn't matter to you. Fear is just your mind's way of telling you that this thing, this idea, this opportunity has the potential to change you. And that's a good thing. Because growth never comes from staying comfortable. Growth comes from stepping out, from speaking up, from taking risks. Your voice has the power to create ripples. You might not see the impact right away. You might not even know who's listening or who's watching. But trust me, someone is. Someone is waiting for the message only you can deliver. Someone is waiting for the encouragement only you can give. Someone is waiting for the courage to follow your example. And when you realize that, when you understand that your voice has the power to change lives, it becomes a responsibility, a privilege, a gift. But using your voice doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or never make mistakes. It just means you have to be willing to show up as you are, to speak from your heart, to share your truth. People don't need perfection. They need authenticity. They don't need you to be someone else. They need you to be you, because that's where the magic is. That's where the connection happens. I remember a time when I was hesitant to share my voice. I thought, who am I to speak up? What if people don't like what I have to say? But I also knew that staying silent wasn't an option. I had a message I believed in, a vision I wanted to share, and a desire to make a difference. So I started small. I spoke up in meetings. I shared my ideas with friends. I practiced, I learned, and I grew. And every time I used my voice, it got a little easier. Not because the fear went away completely, but because I realized the value of what I had to share. And you can do the same. Start where you are. Use what you have. Speak your truth. Even if your voice shakes, share your ideas. Even if they're not fully formed. Take that first step, even if you're not sure where it will lead. Because the only way to find your voice is to use it. The only way to make an impact is to take action. And the only way to inspire others is to be brave enough to go first. The world is full of noise, but that doesn't mean your voice doesn't matter. In fact, it's because of all the noise that your voice is so important. People are looking for clarity, for connection, for meaning. And you have the power to provide that. You have the power to cut through the noise with your authenticity, your perspective, your message. So don't hold back. Don't let fear or doubt or perfectionism keep you silent. The world needs your voice. The world needs your ideas. The world needs your courage. And the only way to make a difference is to start right here, right now. Speak up, show up, share your truth. Because you are here for a reason, and your voice is a gift that the world can't afford to miss.